We're talking draft prospects today, Steelers fans. My name is Jack Sperry. Welcome into Steelers Talk. Today we're going to be talking about NFL draft targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we have a little bit of a twist here where I'm going to be breaking down some of the sleeper picks, some of the guys that I think are being a little bit undervalued right now that I think the Steelers could get in the middle to late rounds. It's going to be a great video, but before we get into the show, we have a little bit of an announcement here. We're going to be doing our first live show here on Steelers Talk tomorrow, February 9th. At 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be 3 p.m. here Central. I'm really excited to get things going with you guys. I really have been waiting for this opportunity for a really long time. You guys have done a fantastic job growing the channel, all these different things. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications so you know when we go live, every time we go live. We're planning on every Thursday from here on out. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel for weekly Steelers live shows, daily Steelers news and rumors videos. We got your comprehensive Steelers news and rumors here this offseason. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you always get notified when we put out new content. Number one on my list, Deonte Banks. Now, you might be saying, Jack, Deonte Banks isn't a sleeper. He's expected to be a day 2 pick, and you'd be right about that. But Deonte Banks has the opportunity to be a true lockdown number 1 cornerback in the National Football League, in my opinion. You look at the size that this kid has, 6'2", 205. He's got long limbs. He runs like a deer. I think he's going to be fantastic, a fantastic person or prospect here at the Combine. I think he's going to really test well. I think that he's somebody that can really play physical. I think he's a little bit raw. I think he's a bit grabby on film, but you know, he goes to the right team with the right coaching, with the right cornerbacks coach. I think that he has the physical ability to be a true lockdown cornerback. And if the Steelers, if he's available at like number 49 or maybe in the third round at number 80, right? I think the Steelers could look at Deonte Banks and say, we can develop him into a number 1 cornerback. I think that this is somebody that they could at least keep an eye on for as like a third round, maybe a second round prospect on day 2. All right, number 2 on my list, Michael Wilson. Somebody that was a true standout in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl this past week. Somebody that a lot of people at the Senior Bowl said was the best route runner overall in the entire Senior Bowl class. Somebody that really made an impression on scouts, on coaches at the Senior Bowl. Really good route runner, really good hands. He's got pretty decent size at 6'2", 209, can play in the slot. Somebody that could maybe give the Steelers a little bit of a different flavor at slot receiver, right? You got Calvin Austin, who's kind of that burner, kind of that smaller dynamo type of receiver. Michael Wilson would give you a different flavor there in the slot, a bit of a bigger guy, could be a better run blocker, in my opinion, just because of the size and strength that he brings. I think he's got really good hands, and I think that he's somebody that if the Steelers can grab him, maybe if he makes it down to the 4th round, he's probably going to be a day 2 pick at this point, guys, but he's somebody that coming into this process, not a lot of people were talking about, but I think he's one of the more well-rounded receivers in this year's draft class. So let me know in the comments section right now, who is your favorite sleeper pick in this year's NFL draft? Who's somebody that you think is going to be somebody that's a bit slept on during this process, but you think is going to be a fantastic NFL player? This is the pinned comment on today's video. So whenever you get an ad break here on the show, go ahead and go into the comment section, find that pinned comment, and answer today's question. Number 3 on my list of draft sleepers is Connor Gallivan, another Senior Bowl guy, somebody that was the highest graded offensive tackle at the Senior Bowl, according to Pro Football Focus. That's better than guys like DeJuan Jones. That's better than guys like Darnell Wright. He was the best offensive tackle at the Senior Bowl, according to Pro Football Focus. Now, the big thing with him is that he needs to get a little bit bigger, right? He's 6'7". That's a massive human being, but he's only 302. You look for more 310, 315, up to like 320. That's really what you look for in an NFL offensive tackle. He's a bit light, so you know he can be susceptible to really strong edge rushers with great bull rushes, but at the end of the day, he held his own against the best edge rushers in the Senior Bowl, some of the best edge rushers in the country. So he's somebody that's not getting talked about a lot right now. I think he's going to be a bit of a riser, maybe get up to like that 3rd round range, but you know, if the Steelers miss out on one of the top offensive tackle prospects early in the draft, Galvin is the type of guy that on day 2, maybe early day 3, they may look to add on the offensive line. Number 4 on my list, Noah Gindorf. I took him in my last Steelers mock draft in the 7th round, and I am in love with this kid, man. He's one of my guys. He's massive, okay, 6'6", 270 as a tight end. That is a massive tight end. And the thing is, guys, is that he's an athlete as well. He's somebody that runs well. I mean, here's the thing. The Steelers don't have somebody as a tight end that can just run over somebody, right? Pat Freiermuth is more of a receiving tight end. Same thing with Connor Heyward. The Steelers need that blocking type tight end, especially if they're going to try to prioritize the run game with Najee Harris. Noah Gindorf has the size and strength to do that. And then he's also a pretty decent receiver, and he's very tough to tackle. He's very physical after the catch. I think he's somebody, as a 7th-round prospect, could be very valuable for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did have ankle surgery in December, though. He's had a couple of different surgeries in his time in North Dakota State. He was a team captain, though, so there's another positive to his resume. He's a great person. He's a great leader, somebody that would be great for the Steelers locker room. And I think he'd be an overall great 7th-round selection to add to that tight end room for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, guys, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Fume. And, guys, at the end of the day, you know, we all have bad habits. We know it. I know it. You probably have some, right? I certainly have some. And we certainly know that those bad habits can be tough to kick sometimes. That's where Fume comes in. Fume is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. I didn't expect much out of Fume, to be honest, when I got it, but the minty sensation is really powerful and really hits the back of the throat. This is the Journey Pack, guys. It comes with 3 different flavors: white cranberry, maple pepper, and crisp mint. For me personally, guys, I think all of them are actually really, really good. It was a lot better than I thought that it was going to be. Personally, I really like the crisp mint, though. That one is my favorite. But the big distinction here, guys, I want to make clear is that Fume is not a vape. It's a non-electric device designed to transform your negative habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one, and Fume is designed perfectly to do just that. Head to tryfume.com/chatsports and use code CHATSPORTS to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com/chatsports and use code CHATSPORTS to save an additional 10% off your order today. All right, the 5th player on my list, draft sleepers, Tyreek Stevenson, another cornerback here that I think has the opportunity to be a really, really good player in the National Football League, okay? Another guy, I think he's really twitchy. He's 6 foot, 214 pounds, so he's got the poundage, and he makes that height differential there too. Like, he makes that benchmark at 6 foot. I think that he's somebody that with, again, long arms, good instincts in zone coverage. I think that he's still a bit raw as well. Same thing with Deonte Banks. Again, these guys are slept on a little bit for a reason. But when I'm talking about physical skill set, when I'm talking about guys that can develop into true lockdown cornerbacks in the National Football League, I think Tyreek Stevenson has the physical profile to do just that. All right, next on my list, one of my favorite receivers in this entire draft class is Xavier Hutchinson, and he's somebody that I think is getting slept on hard. All right, he didn't perform as well as I thought he was going to at the Senior Bowl, but when I watch this kid play on film, he is uber smooth in his route running. He reminds me a lot of prime Adam Thielen. That's who this guy reminds me of. He's not going to be the fastest guy in the world at 6'3", 205 pounds. He might run in the 4.5s. But when I look at his film, man, he is just extra smooth. He's got really great agility, short area quickness, which is really, really important in route running. I don't think he's going to be a burner down the field, right? He's not going to be like a Deshaun Jackson or Calvin Austin III type where they're just going to run a vertical and just beat somebody deep. But he's somebody that in those short area routes in the slot can beat just about any cornerback that's in front of him. I think he's a really, really good player, really good big slot player, smart kid, strong kid, good as a run blocker. I think he's probably going to go on day 3 because he's not going to be the fastest guy in the world. So I think the Steelers, who are going to be looking for that day 3 wide receiver prospect, in my opinion, I think this guy is a fantastic fit. All right, guys, I'm sure that you're tired of me talking about B.J. Thompson here on the show because I've mentioned him like 5 times in the last 2 weeks, but I just had to include him here on my list because he is a sleeper. He's somebody that had to go to the Shrine Bowl, right? Somebody that, you know, is a converted defensive back turned edge rusher, and this guy is among the freaks of this draft class. He's one of the biggest, he's one of the best freak athletes in this draft class, in my opinion. He's somebody that is 6'4". He's got insane size as well. He put on over 30 pounds of muscle just this last year. He runs extremely quickly. He gets out of his stance extremely quickly. Now, he's extremely raw, right? He doesn't know how to hand fight. He doesn't have many moves outside of just trying to run away from an offensive tackle. He doesn't really have much finesse, but he's somebody with all the physical tools that you look for in an outside linebacker in the National Football League, a star one at that. And given that he's a former defensive back, right, he understands zone defense principles. I think that he is somebody that can go back as an outside linebacker into coverage, and he has the ball skills to get you an interception. I think that this guy can be one of the most versatile defensive weapons in the National Football League if he develops. I think that he's going to be there on day 3 for the Steelers, and if he's there, I think the Steelers should definitely consider bringing him in as a developmental prospect, because eventually Alex Highsmith is going to have to go, right? TJ Watt hopefully is going to be with the team for a long time, but you're going to have to find somebody that's going to replace Alex Highsmith eventually. I think B.J. Thompson could be that guy. All right, guys, go in the comment section right now and tell me, when should the Pittsburgh Steelers draft an edge rusher in the 2023 NFL Draft? Type 1 if you think day 1, so that's first round. Type 2 if you think day 2, so that's rounds 2 or 3. And then type 3 if you think day 3, so that's rounds 4 through 7. Next guy on my list, another cornerback here, Julius Brents out of Kansas State. You want to talk about size, man? You want to talk about length? This guy's got all of it. 6'4", 202 pounds, good size, good length. He might run a little slow at the combine. You know, his film, you know, there's some points where he's not the fastest guy out there or the best short area quickness, but he's somebody that got 3 interceptions. I think he plays in zone coverage really well. He's got great football instincts. I think that he's somebody that can get his arms on a lot of footballs, break up a lot of passes. I think he's probably going to be there late day 2, maybe I would probably say early day 3, because this cornerback class is so freaking long. Like it's got so many good players in this year's draft class at cornerback that I think some teams are going to prefer to go get one on day 3 as opposed to day 1 or 2. So I think Brents is going to be there later in the draft. I think he's a very quality cornerback prospect for the Steelers to take a look at. All right, the only inside linebacker I have on this list, I've talked about Cam Jones for a while now on the show. I took him in one of my Steelers mock drafts. I just think that he's a very safe, reliable option at inside linebacker. I think he's a hard hitter. All right, at 6'3", 228 pounds, maybe a little bit light for a linebacker, an inside linebacker, but he's somebody, and he's maybe not the best athlete in the world, but he's someone that you can trust in zone and man coverage. He's not going to give up that big play to the running back or the tight end. He's somebody that you can trust in pass coverage, and then he's good enough in run coverage as well, fills his gaps, knows his responsibilities, and then if he has the opportunity to tackle somebody, he makes them feel it. I think that that's something that absolutely has Mike Tomlin and Pittsburgh Steeler written all over him, and he's going to probably be available towards the end of day 2, I should say, or the early part of day 3. I think he's somebody that Mike Tomlin is really going to like. He got a close look at him at the Senior Bowl, really showed out in Mobile. I think he's going to be he's going to be a player that's on the Steelers' radar this spring. And finally on my list, Jayden Reed, the wide receiver out of Michigan State, had himself a fantastic week of practice in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl. And before, he was seen as like a 6th, 7th round wide receiver. And now we really don't know where he is, because he just absolutely showed out at the Senior Bowl. Like during practices, he was just simply running away from guys on those deep routes, and that's the stuff that NFL scouts really want to see. They want guys, NFL teams, they really want dudes that can run away from defenses, take the top off of the defense to open things up, crossers, other stuff over the middle. And Jayden Reed can do that for you. So I think that he might be a day 2 pick now, which is crazy to say given where he was before the Senior Bowl, but he is one of the biggest risers here after Senior Bowl week. He's somebody that's going to run maybe in the 4.3s probably, and he's a speedster, he's a burner, he's somebody that some NFL team is going to fall in love with. I think he's probably going to be gone by day 2. All right, guys, so here's my complete list here of NFL draft sleepers. For any of you out there that aren't Steelers fans that are watching this, of course, there's other positions with sleepers in it, right? Running backs got a lot of good sleepers in there, but we're doing a little bit more of a Steelers focus, and these are kind of the positions that they're going to be looking at. Of course, there's a bunch of different players from a bunch of different position groups in this draft class, but these are the guys I think the Steelers are really going to be focusing in on. These are my guys. So if you want my list of my guys, the guys that I love in this draft class, the guys I think the Steelers should go get, these 10 players is a great place to start. We're going to be doing a bunch of other scouting here during the offseason and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, guys, this is going to be a great draft class for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if the Steelers can get this done, they're going to be a really, really good team in 2023. And in my opinion, they should really be hunting for wide receivers towards the end of the draft, right? Day 3, this is what we're talking about, sleepers. They should really be looking at these wide receivers that could make it to day 3 and try to get somebody maybe that can play in the slot, like a Xavier Hutchinson, right? Somebody that can contend with Calvin Austin III and also provide some depth just in case George Pickens or Deonte Johnson gets hurt. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen, but I guess it's always good to have that backup plan. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. But remember, we have that live show tomorrow. So make sure to subscribe to the channel to always get notified when we go live, whenever we put out new videos, all this different stuff, guys. We're going to have a bunch of new content coming out, draft stuff, free agency stuff. We're going to have breaking news coverage. All this great Steelers content is coming out this offseason. And then also make sure to like this video. If you are a real one, made it to the end of the video, and you're tuning in to tomorrow's live show. Only the real ones are going to be tuning in tomorrow, guys, so make sure you like the video, you tune into the live show tomorrow. I can't wait to see you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.